Oh, hello, internet fans, and welcome to 3B Video. I'm your host, Rotten Roger DeMarco, and today we're going to be talking about my top 5 horror films from 1995. It's a good year. Yeah. So here comes that little teeny tiny itty bitty disclaimer about the way that I do my top 5 lists. The way that I do these lists is not by which films perform the best in the box office. The way that I do these lists is by the amount of fun that I have with each film. So, you guessed it. Your list, my list, gonna be way different. And that's totally cool. But with that out of the way, let's get started. So coming in at my number 5 horror film from 1995 is Norman Apstein's The Ice Cream Man.
You little turds can't run from the ice cream man.
Now, if you're new to this channel, gotta give a little bit of context to why this movie made this list. Is this movie fantastic? It kind of teeters, right? You gotta be a really big Clint Howard fan to love and appreciate The Ice Cream Man. Well, Evil and I are massive Clint Howard fans. Thus, we love this movie. We love this movie so much that before the 3B Video YouTube universe had started, we were contemplating starting a podcast called The Tuna and Racer Show, based on the 2 lead kids in this movie. But enough of that history lesson. For those of you that don't know about The Ice Cream Man, here is a little teeny tiny plot synopsis. Clint Howard is a mentally unstable ice cream man, and he kills people. There you go. That's pretty much all you need to know. And also, there's a strange fascination with butterbrickle ice cream. And I don't know that I've ever had that. So if you've ever had butterbrickle ice cream, let me know. Inquiring minds want to know what it tastes like. Apparently eyeballs. But either way, it's a super silly, fun movie that Evil and I covered way back in the day that has an affinity for butterbrickle ice cream and Converse shoes. But it's an awesome, schlocky little movie, and it had to make my list. All hail the Ice Cream Man, all hail Clint Howard, and the giant waffle cone. But moving on to my number 4 horror film from 1995 is John Carpenter's remake of The Village of the Damned. This movie is unjustly shit upon. Christopher Reeves kills it in this movie. Buck Flower, Kirstie Alley. I don't know if it's just me. You guys might want to let me know, internet people, but when I was growing up, I had a massive crush on Kirstie Alley. Even when she was like fat actress Kirstie Alley, and I'm not fat shaming, she had a show called Fat Actress. She's very pretty. So I like her. And I feel like this movie doesn't get the credit it deserves. Bunch of creepy little albino space hoics, alien kids with their telekinesis and whatnot. It's just really, really fun. And you don't have to be a fan of the original to like this movie. You don't have to. But it's very John Carpenter in its remake-isms. It's very fun, and I don't understand the hate that it gets. So if you haven't given this movie the time of day because it's a remake and because it got really bad reviews, just take old Uncle Roger's word for it and check this movie out because it's a lot of fun. I mean, Buck Flower. Those 2 words alone, you should go, yeah, I'm gonna watch that. I love old Uncle Buck. But this movie had to make my list because I've been a fan of it ever since I was a little kid. And I guess not until the internet became a thing did I understand that people don't like this movie. And those people are not people I want to be friends with. You guys are people I want to be friends with. But either way, moving on to my number 3 horror film from 1995 is another criminally underrated film, Wes Craven's Vampire in Brooklyn. I can feel the internet eyes collectively rolling. No one likes this movie, and I just don't get why. Eddie Murphy, and Eddie Murphy, and Eddie Murphy, and Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy doing what he does best, wearing a bunch of different costumes, playing a bunch of different people. Kadeem Hardison, John Witherspoon. It's just really good. It's a fun horror movie, comedy. The world wasn't ready for Eddie to step in and be a super gnarly vampire. But it's got that great Coming to America style comedy. Wes Craven bringing in that social commentary. Lots of really good stuff. And this movie just gets swept under the rug, and I don't understand that. Again, I saw this when I was a kid. I was floored by this movie. I really appreciate this style of comedy and this style of horror. So if you're not a vampire fan, maybe that's why you didn't see it, or maybe you just don't want to watch a Wes Craven horror comedy starring Eddie Murphy. But take my word for it, it's worth the watch. It's super good, and that's why it had to make my list. But moving on to my number 2 horror film from 1995 is Joe Chappelle's Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. Should come as no surprise to the people who are longtime subscribers, longtime channel supporters, but to the newbies, to the new blood in the back, here I go. I'm gonna have to just tell you why I like this movie so much. I like big, thick George P. Wilbur. I like the heavy metal score. I like the fact that Michael Myers is stomping around, kicking ass. I don't understand a lot of the Thorn stuff. No, not really, but didn't stop me from getting a Thorn cult tattoo. But yeah, I don't understand the cult stuff. Doesn't really matter. Do I care that he impregnates his niece? There's weird things. A lot of things going on in this movie that I still don't wrap my brain around, but you know what I do love? I love big, thick Michael Myers cutting people's faces off with axes. I love this movie. It's awesome. And introducing Paul Rudd. Just a fun Michael Myers movie that's normally at the bottom of the heap for casual Halloween fans, but this one's up there for me, guys. I love this movie. I've ranted, I've raved about this movie. We've done live streams. We've spent multiple hours discussing why this movie rocks. So watch one of those, maybe it'll sway you. But that's why it had to make my number 2. So you know what that means. We're moving on to my number 1 horror film from 1995. There can be only one. It's Rusty Cundiff's Tales from the Hood. I'm a massive Rusty Cundiff fan. Fear of a Black Hat is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I'm a sucker for anthology films. This movie hit just at the right time where I was starting to kind of understand the world. So this movie is filled with social commentary, filled with some of the scariest stories that I have ever seen. This is just one of the best horror anthologies on the planet. Point blank, I will fist fight anyone who says different. I said that. And you can take that to the bank, the blood bank, Senator. Some sort of Steven Seagal reference, deep cut. I can rant and rave about how great this movie is for hours. In fact, I probably will do a live stream at some point. But you get a really good wraparound story, which normally tends to be the weak spot when it comes to horror anthologies. The wraparound story is just sort of this little afterthought. Well, in Tales from the Hood, the wraparound story actually ties into the final anthology story. So awesome way to bring everything together. Fantastic use of stop motion animation, a la Ray Harryhausen with the puppets. Great creature design. David Alan Grier being scary. And that probably doesn't mean much to the younger audience of this channel, but people that are my age and Evil's age, we grew up watching David Alan Grier in Living Color and in Blank Man and all of these other things. So to put him in this role and see him be terrifying, it's amazing. This is just a masterclass in filmmaking. Again, bar none, hands down, one of the best horror anthologies ever made, because not only is it scary, but it's filled to the brim. To the brim! Holliston reference, deep cut with social commentary. And that is awesome. I can't say enough good things about this movie, so I should probably just stop rambling. But those are my top 5 horror films from 1995, and I'm sure that your list is going to be different. So please, before you go away, go down here into this little thingy and tell me your top 5 horror movies from 1995. I went full-blown YouTuber. Yeah! And also, if you're new here, click the subscribe thing and the little bell, because you never know when we're going to do stuff. But on that note, I suppose I should probably get going, because after all, there's a lot of movies out there and somebody's got to watch them, so why not me, right?
It ain't the Terradome. Naya.